Right now, without thinking about it, you just took a breath. You do it around 20,000 times a day. You have done it every single minute of your life. And yet, according to decades of research, almost everything about the way you breathe is wrong. Not slightly off, not a minor inefficiency. Fundamentally, structurally, mechanically wrong in ways that are quietly reshaping your face, shrinking your jaw, disrupting your sleep, flooding your blood with too much oxygen, and slowly grinding down your health one shallow inhale at a time. How is that possible? How can something your body does automatically, something evolution spent millions of years designing, be wrong? That question has a stranger answer than you expect. Take a breath right now, a normal one. Notice what moves. If your chest rose, your shoulders lifted, or your collarbones shifted upward, you just breathed the way most modern humans breathe. And that pattern, chest first, upper body breathing, is exactly what researchers have identified as a core driver of anxiety, poor sleep, chronic fatigue, and even structural changes to your skull. Here is what your body was actually designed to do. When you breathe correctly, your belly expands first. Your diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle sitting beneath your lungs, contracts downward and creates a vacuum. Air rushes in not because you pulled it with your chest, but because pressure physics demanded it. Your lower ribs flare outward slightly. Your belly rises. Your chest barely moves at all. It is slow. It is quiet. It looks nothing like what you have been doing. James Nestor spent years researching exactly this question. His investigations, compiled in his book Breath, drew on the work of pulmonologists, anthropologists, and free divers to build a single disturbing conclusion. Modern humans are the worst breathers in the animal kingdom. No other species breathes the way we do. No other species suffers the dental crowding, the sleep apnea, the deviated septums, the anxiety disorders at the rates we do. And Nestor traces every one of those conditions, at least in part, back to the mouth. You breathe through your mouth, probably right now, probably at night, probably every time you exercise, feel stress, or sit in front of a screen. And that one habit, so ordinary it feels invisible, is doing damage you cannot see but your body absolutely feels. Your nose is not just a passageway. It is a filtration system, a humidifier, a pressure regulator, and a nitric oxide factory all at once. When air passes through your nasal passages, tiny structures called turbinates warm it to near body temperature, add moisture to protect your lungs, and filter out particulates before they reach your airways. Nitric oxide, produced in your sinuses, travels down with every nasal breath and acts as a vasodilator, opening blood vessels and improving oxygen delivery to your cells. You get none of that through your mouth. Mouth breathing bypasses every one of those systems. Cold, dry, unfiltered air hits your lungs directly. Nitric oxide production drops, your airways become more reactive. Your sleep quality falls. Over years, the soft tissues of your airway begin to collapse inward. Your tongue, which should rest pressed against the roof of your mouth, drops to the floor and obstructs your throat during sleep. This is not a rare anatomical quirk. This is the mechanism behind obstructive sleep apnea, which affects an estimated 1 billion people worldwide. A billion people, partially explained by how they breathe. Dr. Weston A. Price noticed something strange in the 1930s. He was a dentist, and he had started traveling the world comparing the skulls and teeth of indigenous populations with those of people eating a modern industrialized diet. What he found disturbed him. People eating traditional diets had wide, broad jaws, perfectly aligned teeth, and almost no cavities. People eating modern diets had narrow jaws, severe crowding, and rampant dental disease. Price assumed it was purely nutritional. Later, researchers realized he had missed something. The shape of your jaw, it turns out, is not fixed at birth. Your skull is remarkably plastic through childhood and even into adulthood. The forces that shape it include the food you chew, the posture you hold, and most powerfully, the position of your tongue and the way you breathe. When your mouth hangs open, your tongue drops down. Without the tongue pressing upward, the palate does not receive the pressure it needs to expand laterally. The upper jaw narrows, teeth crowd inward. The nasal passages above the narrowing palate compress. You struggle to breathe through your nose, so you breathe through your mouth more. The cycle accelerates. This is not ancient history. This is happening to children right now. A study published in the journal Chest found that children who breathed through their mouths scored significantly lower on cognitive tests and showed behavioral problems that disappeared when their nasal breathing was restored. Their brains were running oxygen deficient every day at school. Think about what that means for a moment. The architecture of your skull, the quality of your sleep, the oxygen reaching your brain right now, all of it downstream of a habit so mundane you have never once questioned it. Now go further back. 90,000 years ago, your ancestors had different skulls. Anthropologists studying pre-agricultural human remains consistently find wide palates, large nasal passages, and straight teeth. There was almost no dental crowding in the archaeological record before the rise of settled farming civilizations. The change did not happen when sugar entered the diet, though that made things worse. It happened when food became soft enough that humans stopped needing to chew hard. The human jaw requires resistance to develop properly. Tough roots, dried meat, fibrous plants, all of that chewing applies mechanical force to the bones of your face, stimulating growth and maintaining width. When your ancestors spent hours a day chewing, their jaws responded. When modern humans eat processed food that falls apart in 3 chews, that stimulus disappears. The jaw narrows, the airway tightens, the mouth falls open. Researcher Patrick McKeown has spent decades studying the relationship between breathing patterns and health outcomes. His work on what he calls functional breathing makes one point repeatedly. It is not just about whether you breathe through your nose, but how much air you move. Modern humans, he argues, chronically overbreathe. You take in more air per minute than your body actually needs, and that excess creates a carbon dioxide deficiency that paradoxically makes oxygen delivery to your tissues worse, not better. This sounds backwards. More oxygen in, worse oxygen delivery. The mechanism is a chemical law called the Boer effect, identified by Danish physiologist Christian Boer in 1904. Hemoglobin, the molecule in your red blood cells that carries oxygen, releases that oxygen to your tissues based on a signal: carbon dioxide levels in your blood. High carbon dioxide tells hemoglobin to let go of its oxygen and give it to the cells that need it. When you overbreathe and wash out your carbon dioxide, hemoglobin holds onto its oxygen too tightly. Your cells become oxygen-starved despite your lungs being full. The result: your body interprets the falling carbon dioxide as an emergency. Your sympathetic nervous system activates, your heart rate rises, your blood vessels constrict, cortisol climbs, you feel anxious, alert, slightly on edge as though something is wrong but you cannot name it. And you reach for your phone or another coffee or a scroll through something mindless, and you never once suspect that every shallow, fast, open-mouthed breath you took today helped put you in that state. Breathe through your nose right now, slow the breath down, let your belly lead, keep your mouth closed, hold that for 60 seconds and notice what shifts in your body. Most people feel a subtle warmth in their hands, a loosening in the jaw, a slowing of their thoughts. That is your parasympathetic nervous system engaging. That is your body recognizing a signal it was designed to receive and has been waiting for in your case. Now, without thinking about it, you just took a breath 20,000 times a day, every single minute of your life. The question is no longer whether you breathe. The question is whether you will finally breathe right.